I'm Joe Halco, your host, and welcome to another episode of NCSS Here for You. Since 1958, Northwestern Counseling and Support Services has been providing access to high-quality services which promote healthy living and emotional well-being for the residents of Franklin and Grand Isle counties. Over the years, as the needs of the community have changed, so too have the programs and services that we make available to assist children, adolescents, adults, families, and seniors. We take our role in the community seriously and strive to provide a continuum of the highest quality services to meet the needs of individuals who at any point seek assistance with emotional and behavioral challenges, their mental health, substance use, or an intellectual or developmental disability. This time of year produces longer days, packed calendars, and family gatherings. Summer can bring plenty of joy, but it can also bring stress, uncertainty, and challenges that aren't always visible from the outside. If you or someone you care about is struggling, Mobile Crisis is here to help. Available 24/7, NCSS's team can provide immediate in-person or phone support for emotional, mental health, or substance use non-medical emergencies. To discuss the Enhanced Mobile Crisis Services Program, I'm pleased to introduce this month's guests. Matt Murphy-Lyon, who is Enhanced Mobile Crisis Clinician at NCSS, and Trish Rigatti, Program Manager of Emergency Services at NCSS. And I'd like to welcome both of you to the program.
Thank you for having us, Joe.
Great to see both of you and to talk about this incredibly important program, which to many, even though it has been around for a little while, it really is still somewhat new in relation to other types of crisis programs that have been available. So let's start with getting an understanding of what Enhanced Mobile Crisis is and how does it help the people in our community.
Yeah. Joe, I just want you to know that I really appreciate you bringing up the fact where, yes, warm weather can bring a lot of happiness and joy, but it can also bring a lot of stress, especially in our current climate, right? Sometimes maybe some people have lost Medicaid, their insurance, or all of this other stuff, right? And that just adds more stress onto families. And additionally, maybe you got a few kids that is just really hard for you to find time to go in and figure out resources, right? The enhanced mobile model is something I'm incredibly passionate about because it brings service to individuals within the community. This could be something that where we could meet you at a coffee shop, at your home, at a park. We have done all of that, right, with this current model. So I could go on and on about roughly what it is, but the short version is it's two mental health clinicians that essentially go out into the community, right, where they have a variety of different backgrounds. So it could be someone like myself, like the enhanced mobile crisis clinician that you mentioned. It could be one of our core crisis position, like John Doe, who's been here for 20 plus years. It could also be, it could be others. Like recently, we just hired a peer support specialist, who is someone that may be able to connect with, an individual more so than us because they have maybe life experiences to bring to the table to relate better. But at the end of the day, what I love the most about NCSS and this program in general is every single time that we, potentially open up a new program or try to work with something, it's about removing barriers to the community to get that treatment. And the best part about the enhanced mobile model is you don't need insurance to even access it. It's free for the community to be able to utilize at any time, to where that just takes one extra stressor, finances, off the table.
Yeah, and I think that's critically important. And as you suggest, actually more now than ever before.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So how is Enhanced Mobile Crisis different from, let's say, somebody calling 911 or going to an emergency department?
I think when you think about 911 or an emergency room, you're thinking about a very serious crisis or a very serious accident. Enhanced Mobile Crisis has the potential, and I can actually say, and has been preventative. It actually can be used when someone, well before they need 911, well before they might need to go to an emergency room. And one thing that I want to say about that a lot of people don't know is when we go out and meet with people in the community, if we come and sit with them and we assess them while we're at their house, sitting on their couch, where they feel comfortable, That is the same exact assessment that we would do if we met them in the emergency room. And I think a lot of people feel like they have to go there in order to get the mental health care they want. And this program says, no, you don't have to.
Yeah.
It's saying if you've got the individual who, I think a lot of times people associate crisis with big mental health issues. And the truth is, we have a lot of people with depression, a lot of people with anxiety, a lot of people with big stressors who might not feel they can get the help and support that they need. And this program allows for that. We are going into so many places to support people. We have met people everywhere from meeting in one of our office locations because that's what feels comfortable to the client, to meeting on a park bench in Taylor Park because that was what was comfortable for the client. And so the big difference is this isn't lights and sirens. It's not involving law enforcement usually. Actually, in the month of May, every single enhanced mobile we did not involve law enforcement, not even one. We're meeting people where they're comfortable, and we're meeting them hopefully before they reach a situation where they are unsafe. They can call us first and say, I really need to talk to someone because I can feel like things are not going well.
Yeah.
And so that has been incredibly powerful with the families that we are working with who in the past have felt like they just had to grin and bear it sometimes. And we have families and clients who are calling us now and saying, I would like you to come out and meet with me. And so we're able to get them connected with resources and referrals ahead of the time. So in that way, that's why I'm saying it's somewhat preventative. So that's the difference.
If I can add on to that, because all well said, it's the flexibility piece of the enhanced mobile model that is so imperative, and it gives the community more than one option than to just go to the ER. Now individuals can say, I'm really stressed out. I just got done at my, I work 9 to 5. Maybe they have 2 jobs. It's 7 o'clock at night. I'm really stressed. I really need to talk to somebody. It's not necessarily a massive crisis where I'm spiraling in depression, but man, I've had a really hard day. I could really just sit down. I'd love to be able to just talk to somebody. And you can. And it's all about getting people connected to those resources so they do feel supported to move on. And the enhanced mobile model, it's for short term, to get people connected. But that being said, it's still one of those first steps. Sometimes people just need that first step to get in.
Yeah. And I was going to say, as both of you were talking, this program is a true stigma buster because so often people say, I'm not walking through those doors to go to one of the offices that we have or that sort of thing. But to your points, meet them wherever they're at, under a tree in the park or whatever, and wherever they're comfortable. The key is that they start talking about what their concerns are.
Right.
Yeah. And I think one thing we're a rural county.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have done these mobiles all over. I think we have been up on a mountaintop in Richford. We have been out to Grand Isle in multiple different locations, in schools out there. We're going to them. And I think that's a really important piece. A lot of folks may not feel they can go, like you said, or they just don't have the ability, but they don't want to call an ambulance.
Right.
And so we go to them.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. It allows us to bring the service to them.
NCSS, right, the motto, we're here for you.
Yeah.
This is where the enhanced model can truly make those words into action. And it just shows, and we've been doing that time and time again. And I think it's such a privilege to be able to see this program, right? That, what was it, 2024, Trish, when it really
We started
came
rolling out. Our soft start was the fall of 2023 with a hard start, I should say, not stop, of January 1, 2024.
Yeah. And just seeing just how many mobiles that we've gotten, when we first started, maybe it was 20 mobiles, or some, but it's grown, so much in that time. And the reason why it's so important for these kind of shows and all these other different things is just to get the word out, because truly for any program to be successful, no matter what, is the community has to adopt it, right? Yeah. And my hope is after seeing something like this, someone seeing it, maybe who was ambivalent at first, will be like, let me give it a shot. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And this gets back to so many people we'll talk about it later too, but so many people are hesitant when it comes to mental health, thinking they're the only ones, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
which we all know is certainly not true. And the sooner they can get assistance, the better. So, this program is dynamic. So, speaking of some of these things that we have, let's address some of the common misconceptions. Many people hear the word crisis and they think that the situation must be severe. So does someone, I think we've kind of answered, but I want you to reiterate it. Does someone need to be suicidal or in immediate danger to receive the support that you're going to be able to give them?
Right. I think it's important that this program is specifically designed for the individual to utilize it in a way to where it's their own personal crisis, right? We look at them as the individual. Sometimes that could mean that, you have someone who is psychotic or delusional and having really strong mental health, stuff going on, right? To where they do need that additional support. But it could also be for a mother or father or a child that just came home from school and they have all this anxiety to where they just need to talk to somebody. It is a spectrum where this program is able to go in and provide that additional support. To answer it very cleanly, it's for everybody, and they are the ones that determine what their crisis is in that moment. You mentioned in the beginning of the show that mental health, substance use, the homeless population obviously is under a great amount of stress, obviously, right? So anyone can use this program and just say, hey, I need an ear. I need someone to talk to.
Yeah. So can family members, friends, schools, community organizations contact Enhanced Mobile Crisis on behalf of someone that they're concerned about?
We have that happen all the time. We have parents, and actually when I say parents, I think a lot of people assume it's for a child. But the truth is we have a lot of parents of adults who reach out to us as well.
Yeah.
And just like the parent of a young child, that's still their child that they're concerned about. We do like to get, and we need to get, the consent of the individual. So if a school calls us and they have a child in crisis, most of them at this point know they'll call the parent first, because we always like the parent to be involved in some way. But we will go to the school and we will meet with the child there. And sometimes the parent joins by phone, sometimes the parent comes in person. We have had parents call us about their adult children who are in a mental health crisis. And we will go out and try to meet with that individual. We've had some adventures on those. We've gone to a lot of different places. But I think so often, and parents are a population that often call and sometimes don't feel heard, I think, because traditionally, you're right, crisis was a big thing. It was much more siloed what crisis could do. And now we're able to hear those folks, and we'll say, hey, we're welcome to come out and see your son or daughter. And sometimes if that son or daughter doesn't want our support, how can we support you? So it allows us to bring support to those parents and say, we understand your child is an adult, and yes, they're not making healthy decisions for themselves right now, and they don't want our support. They don't want our help right now, but it allows us to support the parent so that they actually feel like somebody is helping me. Because I think too often and I see that's a pretty big population that we have call us. Along with schools, we actually have also, Matt has gone and actually sat in with a local faith community and has told them about the program as well, and they've called us. We've been called by Samaritan House,
CV Yo-Yo, Martha's
Kitchen.
all of them.
We've been called by some private counselors. I mean, there's a lot of different places, and anybody can call, really. And one thing, and we can get into the how you can access Enhanced Mobile. There's actually a lot of different ways. A lot of people aren't aware that if you call 988, which is the National Suicide Hotline Lifeline, in the state of Vermont, the two 988 call centers can actually dispatch a mobile, either a phone call or an actual mobile to that person. They can actually dispatch that to the local crisis team. So if there's a family in crisis in our area who calls 988 and they want support, 988 can actually, through what we call Behavioral Health Link, it's a program that connects the 988 teams to the crisis teams. They can actually send it through the system. It comes out to us, and we can actually connect with that individual and go out and see them. So it allows 988 to support the whole state and utilize, and because there's enhanced mobiles all throughout the state. And actually throughout the country, to be honest. So
we've talked about people who are willing to make calls, but what would you say to someone who's hesitant or nervous about reaching out to you for help?
I would like to, just think that, like we said in the very beginning of our show, is that life can be stressful. And the fact of the matter is that we are human beings, and there are those individuals that want to tackle things alone. And I think that at the end of the day, though, we all have our limits, whether it be someone with very high tolerance versus, maybe not so much, right? And so my hope is to tell those individuals who are ambivalent about trying this. Maybe they had maybe a poor, experience with a mental health agency before, whether if that be through NCSS or some other throughout the state or throughout the country. But I think it's important to recognize that once you isolate yourself and once you choose to, I'm just going to tackle this on your own, but maybe you're just way too busy. You have so many things going on that you're not able to address what's really going on underneath the surface, that it can get worse to that point, right? Where we talked about earlier, maybe from someone experiencing psychosis or delusions or something like that, right? So it's important that what I would say to those individuals that are really just trying to push through, that you don't need to, and that this program isn't going to cost you a penny, right? So why not give it a try? Like, if to those individuals that did have poor experiences, I hear you. Allow us to come out to show you what this program is about, and make that decision for you. Don't look at what we say, look at what we do, Joe. I think it's so important that in my personal opinion at least, that actions are more valuable than words, right? So, and this program truly places us, places our action where those words are. We're here for you.
one additional thing too, that for some people they're just nervous to call.
Sure.
They want to call, but they're nervous. And we've actually had some teachers, counselors, all kinds of different people have done a practice call. And we've been like, call us when you're not in crisis. So you have that experience. And it's actually been great. We've had youth, we've had some of our counselors that we've worked with in the community who have clients that are nervous. They call with them while in session. So they're even supporting them. And they find out the person on the other end is just another human being. I think there's so many misconceptions. A lot of people have the old picture of what crisis was depicted as, and I don't even know if it was totally like that then, you know? I think a lot of people see the movies. And so we encourage that. Call us and talk to us. You can call when, you know, and have that experience to talk to a crisis clinician and actually find out they're just going to talk to you. And 90% of the time, I mean, we're going to either talk to you on the phone or we're going to sit down and talk to you in person. And that's usually mostly what we do to help people, is we talk to them and get them connected.
And everywhere where I have gone so far, Joe, to really help push the word out, whether, like I mentioned a few moments ago, Martha's Kitchen, Smyrna, the Holy Angels Church, etc., wherever I go, I've run into, well, in the past, I've tried calling X, Y, and Z, and it just really didn't work out. There were so many different barriers to navigate, right? One thing after the other. You know, but once I got my foot into the door and they gave that one opportunity, that one chance to really to show them what we're about, so far, like, I've just had great experiences with community partners, right? And sometimes it only takes that one time to recognize, like, this was the past and this is now.
Right. Good, looking forward. So when looking at community impact, how does Enhanced Mobile Crisis help individuals to remain connected to the communities and their support systems?
I think that I would love to actually talk about an experience that I had today, which is just great. I met with a few individuals, and that I've met before, right? So when you use the enhanced model, you don't need to stop at one time, right? Sometimes you need multiple interactions to be able to get those connections. And I have had this, one family that they just hit it off with the model, and they've met other people on the crisis team, right, to talk about that. So specifically, to help people stay connected, right? Sometimes, like I just said, it takes multiple visits. But then you're building relationships within NCSS, right? And then those relationships that you build, whether that be through me, through our peer services professional, or what have you, they can then help you connect to those people inside the agency a little bit faster. And the more you stay connected, the more we get to know you, then we can say, when we go to our intake coordinator, hey, I just met with this really cool couple. They have X, Y, and Z going on, and that in itself can help speed up the process, right? The intake coordinator will say, oh, okay, all this stuff is going on, and of course they're still going to talk to the family about everything, but at least they'll have a general idea of what's going on in that situation.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, what are some of the signs that someone may be struggling with mental health challenge, and who could benefit from enhanced mobile crisis?
We usually focus on activities of daily living, or ADLs. And that's one of the first signs that we'll see with a lot of folks. They're just not always been able to maintain what they have done in the past. Maybe they're not getting to work. We might sometimes see somebody who, I actually spoke with someone earlier this week who's like, I called out yesterday, but I'm here today, but I'm not doing well. So it's hard to handle some of those, going to work, getting up, getting showered, taking care of your family, taking care of yourself. We talk to a lot of folks who they're like, I can't manage anymore. It's just too hard. And so and like this individual, we actually did end up supporting her, and we're able to meet with her and support her with some resources. And that was super helpful to her so that she didn't continue to decompensate. We were able to get her connected. And I think that's one of the things that we certainly do. Like Matt said, sometimes we get calls on somebody who may be in a full psychotic state.
Yeah.
But often it's schools calling us and saying, this was a formerly A student. They were an athlete. They played football. They were involved in debate club. They were involved in all these different things, and they've quit football. They're not coming. They're missing 3 days a week. School truancy is huge right now. And we get called all the time on kids who are truant, and we're talking to parents, and they're like, he doesn't leave his room. He just comes out, I can't get him, and we have parents who are like, I can't drag a 16-year-old to school. And so those are a lot of the different presentations that we see. And a lot of these are not, like I said, big, blown out, but they're huge. They're, impacting these families and individuals in very big ways for them. And that might not be evident to all the people around them, but those are the situations that we're going in and we're helping people and getting them slowly back on that path that they want to be on. And I think we have found we have to present our data to the state every month, and we've been averaging about 90+% of our enhanced mobiles are getting connected with community resources and staying in their community.
That's terrific. Boy,
So-
that's huge. You both have made a great point, too, about the fact that, it's not just the individual that's struggling, but it's the other family members as well that get impacted. And I think that's why, with what you're doing, is such a terrific program, because you're able to, right then and there, if you need to, talk to the other individuals that are being impacted as well.
Yeah, and I think that it's important because we've been talking a lot about resources, right?
Yes.
What we can offer. I think it's also important to recognize that, maybe someone thinks like, I don't know if this is the right step, right? Maybe there is something that we just simply don't have or that we can't provide in this moment is still a good stepping place to where we could say, well, we might not be able to assist with this situation because of X, Y, and Z, but I know someone that might be able to help.
Yes.
And then be
Yeah.
that middle person.
Yeah.
It's great in that regard.
Yeah. Now, if I could ask you, if viewers and listeners remember only one thing from today's conversation, what would you want that to be?
I say this almost with everyone that I meet, because I think that it's important to recognize that no matter what agency, whether it be NCSS or others that you go meet throughout the country with,
Yeah.
there are these specific terms that you will always hear. We're here for you, I'm there, you're not alone, you're not X, Y, and Z,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You almost, as an individual that goes on in struggling, almost like there's that expectation, like, oh, they're just going to tell me that anyway. Like, they don't actually mean it. They don't do. But I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, like when, I've been in human services for so too many years sometimes. But I recognize that, NCSS is genuinely like one of those places that I've experienced that truly do put programs out there to help the community where they can.
Mm-hmm.
And so if anyone were to take anything away from this program, it's simply reach out. If you are struggling, reach out. We are here for you. At the end of the day, though, it takes the accountability piece to be able to you open that door to at least give us that chance. So take away from this that this resource is there and share it. Mm-hmm. Please push it so other people that are ready for that assistance, that are ready for that help, can receive it.
Yeah, excellent. Trish, anything you'd like to add, or is that...
I think, just building off what Matt said, I think so many people, when they're struggling, feel so alone.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they don't feel that, sometimes when I talk to them, they don't feel they deserve help. They feel like sometimes they created their own problem. And I think the truth is, all of us have those days, and all of us have times where we struggle. You don't have to be alone. I think that's the big thing that I try to share with folks is you can call and talk to us. We can come and meet with you. But I think it's really important that the folks that we work with and the folks we haven't worked with yet
Mm-hmm.
know
Mm-hmm.
that everyone has those days. And the truth is, for some people it can be worse than others.
Yep.
But they don't have to be alone in it. They don't have to be. I think what we try to do is make sure that people understand that you're not the only one, and we can help. And I think sometimes we've talked to individuals who are like, nobody can help me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, give us a chance.
Yeah.
And I think that's the piece right now that I would want people to understand is give us a chance to help. And I just building off what Matt's
Sure,
saying.
sure.
And
finally, one more time, the number that people should call to reach out.
Sure. 802-524-6554, press option 1, and you'll be reached out to. That's literally that easy.
And again, you can also call 988
Yep.
and speak with one of their responders. And if they want a local response, they can request of that individual to dispatch a team from their area to meet with them.
Outstanding. Well, I want to thank my special guests this month, Matt Murphy-Lyon and Patricia Rigatti, for sharing their insights on the mobile crisis services that NCSS provides 24/7 to anyone struggling with emotional, mental health, or substance use non-medical emergencies in Franklin and Grand Isle counties. I also want to thank you, our viewers and listeners, for spending time with us again this month. You can learn more about all of our programs and services by logging on to ncssinc.org. I'm Joe Halko, and I'll be back next month with another episode of NCSS Here for You.